So we're here today because we're pointing out that one of the very foundations of our economy is just hanging on by a thread. The child care and early learning sector are in a crisis. And due to the inability to be able to afford to pay their workers livable wages and be able to offer benefits, unfortunately has resulted in closed classrooms across the state and throughout Bucks County. Across Bucks County alone, dozens of child care providers have shut down their classrooms and unfortunately had to close some of their businesses due to this issue. In a survey that was launched in March by Start Strong PA, a statewide coalition, we found that over 1,000 providers who responded, 91% of them are in the middle of a staffing shortage. 91%. Due to that staffing shortage, over 32,000 kids have been put on waiting lists and not able to attend those programs. That's 32,000 kids across Pennsylvania who do not have access right now to early learning. That's thousands of parents who don't know what to do when they're trying to go to work and have to figure it out as they're trying to earn a living just to put food on the table, keep up with the rising cost of housing, the rising cost of gas, and the rising cost of supplies for their kids. In one of the greatest states in the country, in the richest country in the world, that's unacceptable. In the same survey, 93% of those respondents from Bucks County, about 54 programs, said they're facing a staffing shortage. This isn't a problem elsewhere, this is a problem here in Bucks County. That has left 1,300 of our kids out of early learning programs. We are one of the wealthiest counties in the state. People seek after to take their kids and move here for our schools and our jobs. They're not going to continue to do so without these early learning programs in existence. Because of this, Children First is launching 30 days of closed classrooms across the Philadelphia region. This is a campaign to spotlight the shrinking availability of childcare for parents and its impact on children, families, and our community as a whole. If we don't do something now, if the state doesn't do its job now in ensuring that it invests in our kids and our early learning educators, we're not going to have a sector to rely on in the near future. So today we're here at Children of God Educational Services in Bristol, Pennsylvania. But this is a problem not only in Bristol, not only in Newtown and Quakertown, this is a problem throughout the state and throughout the country. So to kick us off here, we have Valerie Hamilton, who is a fighter for her kids, not only in this center, but for her community as a whole in Bristol. So Valerie Hamilton from Children of God.
Thank you so much, Dan and Children First, for the opportunity to share our stories. As Dan just said, we are one center in this amazing county, Bucks, that we share the same story with hundreds of other centers. Throughout this state, it's thousands, and throughout this nation, it's tens of thousands who are going through what we're going through, a staffing crisis. And the key word is crisis. Everyone has tried their best to work things out, but pre-COVID, we had issues with staffing. COVID only exacerbated that extremely and made sure that people who were hard workers, intelligent, gifted, degreed workers were still struggling. Directors who are in the classroom where they should be working on curriculum, working on administrative work. They're in the classroom because they need to fill in a spot. They're cooking because they need to cook for the chef. They're janitors because they don't have anyone to clean. And these are people who love what they do, but because of the staffing crisis, they just fill in the gaps. And the crisis is here because not just money, because teachers do it for the nature of love. It's a crisis, and I keep using this word because the emphasis is real. It's a crisis because people need to be paid a decent wage for the work that they're giving. They're giving 110%, everything that they have, to make sure children are safe, to make sure that they're educated on the next best thing to provide the best quality of care to 3, 4, and 5-year-olds in our county and in our state. And they deserve to be considered as professionals and paid like one. Historically, our staff people are not respected in this industry. Some people like to think of it as babysitting, and it's not. It's not babysitting. As you see behind me, I represent Children of God, and in this classroom alone, I could serve 20 more children if I had the staffing to do so. 2 days ago, I was notified by one of my amazing assistants that she could no longer work for me at the salary I was giving her. I'm competing, much like all other centers, against corporations who are able to pay $16 to $19 an hour just to start. Where does that leave a mom and pop store who may have to just close? And as Dan said, we're closing classrooms. Some centers are closing indefinitely, all because of this staffing crisis. The help is needed because our teachers help to shape the development of the most precious people in the world, our children. The children, your children, our children, the children in our community. I'm from Bristol Borough, and all I want for my community is for my children to succeed, become the best that they could possibly be. Help me do that, not just for my kids here in Bristol, but kids all over the state. Thank you. Miss.
Thank you. Now we have Marissa Christie, who's the CEO and president of United Way of Bucks, whose organization, literally, along with another organization, Bucks County Opportunity Council, we're going to hear from in a second, has kept this community afloat throughout the pandemic and is fighting hard to continue to make sure that our families can thrive moving forward out of this pandemic. So, Marissa.
Thank you. We are very, very proud partners of Children of God and the quality work that happens here. Valerie said something that just grates on me, that I find so challenging to listen to, which is some people think about this as babysitting. Some people devalue the work that happens here. And for me, that kills me, because this is some of the most important work that's happening in our community. You know, Yogi Berra was talking about the outfield at Yankee Stadium when he said it gets late early out here. But from my perspective, that's one of the best ways that we can really characterize what happens in the early years of a child's life. What we know is that when a child is born, their brain is about 25% that of an adult. At the end of their first year of life, it doubles in size. By the time they're age 3, it's 80% and 90% at age 5. And while their brain is growing over those early years, they're actually forming about 1 million new neural connections every second. Those early years are when we build the architecture, the framework, the foundation of our learning. The early years is when we shape who a child will become. I mean, I guess from my perspective, you almost think about it as building the foundation to a house. If we don't start with a strong foundation, those cracks will show. They'll show throughout the house. I mean, can we go back later and fix it? Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but it's not as effective, it's not as efficient. We make significant investments in high quality early childhood education at United Way of Bucks County because it provides the absolute best return on investment. It ensures that children meet milestones, physical, cognitive, social, emotional, behavioral. It ensures that qualified professionals can intervene when early intervention is required. I advocate for high quality early childhood education, not just as a mother of a pre-K student myself, not just as CEO of Your United Way, but also as an employer in Bucks County. Because those first 5 years when we're building that foundation, that's also when we're developing essential skills. Self-regulation, problem solving, strategic thinking, communication, this all comes from our earliest years. And when I think about the lost opportunity, when we can't connect kids to high quality programs like Children of God, when those opportunities are deferred or denied to children who need it, which is all children in our community, every year, we are squandering 20% of those precious early years of a child's life. That's unacceptable. It gets late early out here, and that's ultimately why we're really calling on our legislators to take decisive action and make sure sites like Children of God here in Bristol get the help they need. Thank you.
Marissa. Now we have Erin Lukoss, who's the Executive Director of Bucks County Opportunity Council and has seen directly how this impacts our working parents throughout this county.
Thanks, Dan. Good morning, I'm Erin Lukoss. I'm the Executive Director and CEO of the Bucks County Opportunity Council. We are the community action agency for Bucks County, designated by the commissioners to address poverty. Our mission is to reduce poverty and partner with the community to promote economic self-sufficiency. And our vision is a community where all people can achieve economic security and have opportunities to create their future story. I told you our mission and our vision because I think that having just a little bit of an understanding of self-sufficiency and how people achieve self-sufficiency, why it's so important to us, is just a piece of the puzzle that I wanted to share today. Dan asked me to talk about the short and long-term effects the lack of available childcare has on families. And first, I would really like to talk just a little bit about poverty. Poverty is more than just a lack of money. Poverty is defined as a lack of resources, resources that help us all live a quality life. At BCOC, we help people increase their own resources to become self-sufficient. And the road to self-sufficiency requires motivation, hard work, and persistence. But more than anything, it requires people to work in a job that pays a living wage. Childcare is an essential resource for self-sufficiency. If you have children and you want or need to work, which I'm not sure who doesn't, you need reliable childcare. And that's just the bottom line. Without it, people can get trapped in the vicious cycle of poverty. And that's what we see at BCOC. The staffing crisis at childcare centers across the state and here in Bucks County, as well as the exorbitant cost of childcare when available, jeopardizes a low-income family's ability to not only move out of poverty, but stay out of poverty. Without childcare, parents are often forced to withdraw from the workforce, potentially slipping further into economic hardship. And this is not just an issue for people with low income. It can and does affect everyone. However, women with low income have been hit the hardest by the current childcare crisis. I can tell you that at BCOC we have participants in our self-sufficiency program who are in part-time work, working out schedules with neighbors and friends so that they can go to school, to better themselves, to get a training certificate or a degree, just because the childcare is either too expensive or not available. And that is probably the first time in my 21-year career at the Opportunity Council that I'm seeing that. As I said, BCOC assists people as they work to become more self-sufficient. We help people by offering a continuum of services to address the social determinants of health, and access to high-quality childcare is an important social determinant of health. It is an economic driver to stability and well-being. That was true long before the pandemic hit, but was made much clearer over these past 2 years. At the Opportunity Council, we know that education and employment at a livable wage are key indicators to achieving economic self-sufficiency. Additionally, quality childcare and early education are key resources that children need to grow, thrive, and build resiliency. Early education programs found in high-quality childcare centers build resilient children, and those children become resilient adults, as Marissa said, and can potentially break the cycle of generational poverty. That's how important it is for children to have high-quality childcare. And it's so not babysitting. My first job out of college, I worked in a child care center. And 27 years later, seeing those kids as adults in my community where I live in Upper Southampton, there are amazing humans. And I don't know that people recognize just how important it is to have a good childcare provider. Maybe they do. I hope that you will know that after today. So to sum up, the short-term effect is that a lack of available childcare means people are not able to work full-time or at all. It leads to reduced income, housing instability, food insecurity, and overall difficulty meeting their family's most basic needs. And the long-term effect is an increase in poverty. We can do better in Bucks County and in Pennsylvania. Child care centers need proper funding so that they can pay living wages, attract high-quality teachers and caregivers, and open up these empty classrooms. Dan?
Thank you, Erin. So you can hear kids in the classroom next door. We shouldn't be able to stand here and do this in this classroom. The only reason why we can is because it's empty. And despite that, the Wolf administration has proposed in this year's budget to flat fund the child care line items. We see a mass exodus of early learning teachers leaving the field, and we see a lack of kids, who are now adults, going into the field because they can make more money with benefits working at Wawa and Target and Walmart. Walmart, making more money at Walmart. I want to say that again. So we need the governor and our state legislature to do more, okay? The federal funds that the state got helped to keep these centers afloat, just above water, while they're still sinking, okay? So we can no longer level fund what is a critical part of our local economy and developing our kids. So we need the governor, we need the Democrats who support the governor, and then we need the majority and the Republican side to fight for our kids at the negotiating table this June. Start Strong PA, along with our coalition across the state, is asking for a minimum of an additional $115 million to be invested in our teachers alone, our workforce. On average, early learning teachers make about $11 an hour across the state. This supplement will only increase that to about 13 on average. It's still not enough. This is a starting point to work on for the next few years to ensure that we actually have an early learning system to operate in Pennsylvania. The investment is not only about giving people higher wages, it's an investment in our future. You cannot say that you fight for our economy if you do not fight for the very foundation of that economy. And you cannot say, as an elected official in Harrisburg, that you fight for our community unless you are fighting for our early learning teachers, our working parents, and our kids. So it's time to step up. Thank you.